us know that you do not accept the recording, but we are going to record the meeting. It's only for posterity purposes. At the end of this discussion, we'll display the contact details for those who will need the presentation that is there, and the webinar, the recording link. We also have the details about our services, that is RevSol East Africa. You can write to us and we'll be sure to get in touch. So as we begin, we'd like to inform you about the theme of this meeting for the day. The theme is reopening post-COVID-19, preparing for transition. What are we preparing for? This is a theme that, as much as we may not be the people who define the policies of the hospitality industry, we are the ones on the ground and the ones who are responsible for the hospitality operations every single day. Every department in a hotel works to contribute towards realizing the objectives of a company. So whichever department you're in, just know that you are part of a whole team that contributes towards realizing the objective of your own company. For this reason, we decided to have this meeting to seek to understand how things will change post-COVID-19 and how to prepare accordingly for these changes. Today, we're going to look at strategy, but moving forward, with your input as well, the viewers who are here, all your input that we will take today, we would like to get the topics that you will give us, and we will make discussions and webinars concerning them moving forward. Okay? So on the agenda for the day, it's in line with the theme of the day, which highlights three major facets of a hotel strategy. Since today we're talking about strategy, these are the three major facets of strategy. First one is budgeting, then sales and marketing, and online distribution strategy. As you go deeper into the discussion with our panelists, please prepare your questions, which we will sample in the course of the discussion. You may write your questions in the chats. The chat is available and it can be seen by everyone. Just make sure you have your questions ready, and they should be in line with the agenda of the day. Kindly do not ask about anything that is not in line with the discussion of the agenda. The program will start with an introduction of our panelists, and followed by a presentation to understand who RevSol is. Who is this RevSol? Afterwards, each of our panelists will have 10 minutes of their own presentation prior to the final remarks. They'll have final remarks to give us after their presentation. A question and answer session will pave way for the questions you prepared from the panelist discussion. So whatever you're writing in the chat, whatever questions you will have that you will speak in person, you'll have them prepared for this discussion. Please ensure you make them brief and concise so that we can address them to the right panelists. Our panelists of the day are Felix Musa, James Masharia, and Martin Muridi. As we move forward, we'll give a brief overview of who they are. And as they give us their presentation, before their presentation, I'll give you a brief overview of who they are and what they have done in the industry, of which they'll also have a minute or so just to introduce themselves as they move towards giving us their presentation. Jared Gabriel Michael, we will start with him since he is our main presenter, who will give us a discussion of what RevSol is and who RevSol is, and generally for you, the audience, to understand RevSol East Africa. You've heard about RevSol East Africa, you knew that it was hosting a Hoteliers conference, but I'm sure most of you have not heard about Hoteliers conference or about RevSol East Africa. Who is this RevSol Africa? Jared, kindly take the stage.
Thanks, Brian. Good evening, guys. Thanks for joining us. I am waiting for the slide, Brian. All right, I'll be very brief, and I will just answer these three questions. I will start by telling you who is RevSol. RevSol EA stands for Revenue Solutions East Africa. It is a company created under the Kenya law to serve the hospitality industry. Why was RevSol created? RevSol EA was created to fill a gap where we noticed there are so many solutions and systems that are available out there, but at the same time, many hospitality players, say lodges, guest houses, hotels, are only focusing and using the big ones, and most of them are even missing out on these opportunities. So RevSol Solution East Africa has been created to make sure that the level is the same, whereby each and every hotel stands a fighting chance to get maximum benefit out of online revenue. So what problems have we picked and what solutions are we providing? First, we have seen a gap when it comes to automation. There are so many hotels who are still using traditional ways of, or limited ways of generating revenue, but there are also so many opportunities for them to get maximum benefit. And we come in providing solutions and systems that are affordable, that are simple, and very easy to use for anyone and everyone, be it a big hotel, a small guest house, or an apartment, or a lodge. We also provide systems and solutions that will help you capture data, because we are all aware that without clear understanding of data, without being able to manipulate data, you will not be able to get maximum benefit out of your property. We will also help you in terms of managing your online platforms, because we have many guys out there who are on Airbnb, who are on Expedia, who are on Booking.com, but some of them don't even know how to manage other than the basics. Or even those who understand, they are not really taking maximum advantage of these platforms. So we come in, give you basic trainings or advanced solution or knowledge or tool or system that you will need, and make it very affordable and simple to you. We also come in as not just as your consultant, not just as a service provider. We come in as a partner, not to work for you, but to work with you. We will make sure we give you solutions, we give you strategies, we give you systems, and we help you master them. And we will be there to see you grow. And as you can see on the slide, our website is there. We have our email, we have our phone numbers. Just reach out to us. Let's work together, regardless of where you are in this hospitality industry. We have systems, tools, knowledge, trainings for everyone. So I will say karibuni, and looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron, for your presentation. So we'll move on to the next person, who is Felix Musa. Felix Musa is one of our panelists for the day today, and he's an accomplished hotelier who with experience in revenue management, reservations and sales, and he has been in that position, in senior management positions for a long time now. So as we welcome him, he's coming in to talk about budgeting post-COVID-19. Musa, go ahead.
Thank you, Brian. Is it good night, everyone? I mean, it's good evening. You know, now it's a bit confusing. So thank you again for this opportunity, Brian. I'm grateful. I think Brian needs to mute. Okay. Thank you again for this opportunity. So my name is Felix Musa. I've been in the industry for a while, 10 years now, 10 or 11 years. I've worked in various organizations within the industry, and I've met quite a few of you as well throughout my journey. So I'm the lucky one to get the first presentation, and I thought it's wise we talk about budgeting, because today's presentation is about how do we get into the industry. And assuming tomorrow the president decides he's opening up the country, and you're called into a quick strategy meeting, what will be your advice to the board so that we are able to open up? And budgeting is key, because we know budgeting is the money. Budgeting is everything. I don't think there's any hotel, even house, that operates without a budget. Hence the reason budgeting post-COVID-19. Brian, next slide. So yeah, I will quickly run through the most common types of budgets that are used in the industry. So there are 5. There are many, but these are the 5 ones that we keep on using and reusing in the industry. So there's the traditional one, which is also incremental budgeting. This is where you look at last year, or you look at 2 years back, and then you work your budget based on those databases. So you look at them and say, okay, I think this year, based on our actions from last year, ABC, we are looking at growing by X or Y. So that is the old traditional way. And then we have this activity-based budgeting. So this is where we look at which activities we will have coming into the next year, and then we work on a budget with them. So we can say we are planning to change maybe our website. That's an activity. So how much will it cost us? And then what will be the benefit of changing the website? Or maybe we are partnering with who? Or we need to increase our sales team. Why do we need to do that? So based on an activity. It's not very common, but yeah, some people use it. And then we have the value-based, value proposition budgeting type of budgeting. So this is where we really don't look at any unnecessary. We just look at the value of the business to the business, and then we say, okay, fine. So if we hire, if let's say if we introduce a new website, it will have X or Y value to the business. So you just look at your activities, the values that they will have to the business. And then we have the fixed or flexible budgeting. So here we have some fixed types of activities in the budget that don't change, like salaries and things like that. And then it's more or less, if you look at it like the traditional way of budgeting, and then there are some flexibilities. Like, let's say we can say we will have casuals, or we will have, or we are looking at maybe, bringing in a tent for an extra meeting. So the flexible budgeting allows you to add on top. So if you look at 4 and 1, they are more or less the same. So the final one is zero-based budgeting. So zero-based budgeting, this is a bottoms-up approach. And this will be the main focus of my discussion today. If Brian can move to the next slide. Yes. So zero-based budgeting, this one is very hectic to do. And basically, what does it do? It looks at what you need for next year. And I thought it's a good thing to discuss right now post-COVID, because the traditional way of budgeting won't work, because we don't know the new travel patterns to expect. So let's assume, again, the president decides tomorrow he is going to open up the country. You can't go back and say, I'll budget August based on last year's August. No, we are on a clean slate. So we can't really go back and say, let's look at last year or the other year before to budget for August. And all the budgets we had for this year, we more or less have to bin them, put them aside or use them as comparison to see how they will work towards, or where we project to reach them. So that's why we say, let's look at zero-based budgeting, because right now all we need is to know how much do we need to survive. not how much money we will make. So if it's opened, you as a manager who is out there, you'll be asked, so now how do we budget for the rest of the year? You know, if I was in that meeting, I'll say, let's look at what we need to survive until the end of the year as we learn the new trends that are coming in. So with zero-based budgeting, it gives you a clean slate approach to budgeting. So you will say, my front office team, do I need to have all employees back in August or in July? Or can I start with 1, 2, leave the others on leave, and then bring them? Because remember, having everyone in the office, again, is a cost to your business. You know, the meals you have to produce and things like that, yeah? Number 2, you will look at it like, so it's opened up. We are a 100-room hotel. Do we need to open all the 100 rooms? Do you think we can fill them up? Or do we go incremental? So we start with 20 first in June, 20 rooms, June, July, and then as we start seeing new data trends, do we move them up to 30, like that, all the way to December? So with a zero-based budget, everything that every department brings to the table will be reviewed and will be questioned. So with this clean slate approach, what I'm saying is we are assuming we are opening a new hotel post-COVID. Everything is totally zero, yeah? So you can't really say you're going to refer anywhere. And it's a bottoms-up approach. So every department, so we'll say housekeeping. Housekeeping, we know cleaning will be very, very key, you know? So we need to outsource these materials. So housekeeping budget might increase as compared to last year, because now, you know, you have to, every surface after every hour and things like that. So housekeeping will come with their plan and say, this is it. But then we will go and look at marketing and say, marketing, do you think we need to invest that money in TripAdvisor, let's say? Or do we need to invest that money in SEO? Can that money be brought back and we use it somewhere else? So marketing will also have to give their reason. So with this bottoms-up approach, then you have a very detailed-oriented budget, where everything in that budget is well understood and is well approved, you know, so that you know, if assuming the entire year we need 1 million shillings to survive, then that's the first money we need to make. Or how do we finance this 1 million? Then now you come back and then you reach out to the revenue generating departments. You know, in our hotel, we have the revenue generating departments, and then we have the cost expenditure departments, you know, like housekeeping, engineering, you know, those expense departments. You know, marketing spends, it does not bring in money. And then we have sales, we have the marketing activities become now revenue generating. So the department might be spending, but its activities as well can be considered revenue generating. So once you know what you need to survive, then you can go to the revenue generating sections and sit down with them and tell them, hey, we know this is what we need. So how are we approaching the market? And I think James will be talking, James and Martin will talk more about that. So I won't dig in. It will result to saving, because you see, when you break down all those small things in your budget, then you will remove the excess. Remember, we have been our industry has excesses, you know, like TripAdvisor business platform, or you signed up with another channel, you know, because money was coming in, so you could spend. But now, post-COVID, we have to save every money. And then after COVID, once we have analyzed and we have like what can I say, consistency, then we can go back to our usual spending. Yeah, it will, you know, the inflations in the budgets. You know, if you really analyze our budgets, we have a lot of inflations. You know, F&B will inflate, housekeeping will inflate, just to play safe. But when you do zero-based post-COVID, you will kill those inflations, you know? And then resources. So your finance department now will allocate the correct resources. So what I was saying is, like, a good example is housekeeping and its cleaning materials. We know that will be key. We need hygiene. Hygiene will be key post-COVID. So we will need to allocate more resources to housekeeping as compared maybe to, we can say, like front office, or we can say like, you know, the purchasing department, because, you know, every hotel has its own different, departments, and they all go into the budget. Yeah. So once we start having efficient allocation of resources, you can see where the savings come in. And then you see the final point there is all this, because we have involved all departments, so there was a communication, all of us have sat down and we're happy with it, then literally it's aligned to what you as a company want moving forward. So if you are seated in that strategy meeting as a manager, or you're in your departmental P&L meeting, you're able to suggest this, because then once you know what you need to survive, then you have a basis to grow and to move forward. But if we go back to the traditional way, we have no data point to refer to, so we really don't know. You will be shooting, you'll be shooting blindly, hoping to hit. Because right now, if someone came and asked you, I can use Doreen as an example. Doreen, what do you project for August? Do you think we'll do 50% occupancy? It will be very tough. You don't know, but you can actually know your expenditure in August if you're open, based on zero-based. If someone asked like James, hey James, what do you think the year will be like? Will we hit 40%? We don't know. Right now, we have been told domestic market might peak, but we don't know. So zero-based gives us the opportunity to know what we need to survive. And then now, as I say, James and Martin will come us and tell us, how do we generate this revenue, so that we can survive. I think that was my small presentation, unless you have any questions, which we can pick them up on Q&A. Thanks.
Thank you, Felix. I think that was very much informative. So we'll move on to our next panelist, who is James Macharia. James Macharia is also another accomplished professional. Kindly mute your mic, whoever is in.
But I didn't feel like jumping overboard either. After the board, I knew that I had to get over the limit, but you should do as well. And even if he does call you again,
Kindly mute your mic, please. Thank
I
you.
want to. Right, okay. He's the one.
So James Macharia is also another accomplished professional in the hospitality industry. He started out as a front desk agent and rose to senior management, and has worked in front office, reservation, sales, and marketing. As he's coming in, probably he will say more about himself as he does his presentation. James, welcome.
Hello, everyone. It's a privilege to be part of the webinar that we decided that it is important that we share with other industry players. As Brian has said, I've also been in the industry for 9 years, I would say. And it is fortunate that I've grown up the ranks from front desk to reservations to revenue to sales and marketing to working for an OTA and back to the hotels. Currently, I'm in charge of sales at Crown Plaza Upper Hill. That is where we are at. That is a brief on my side. And Brian, if you could proceed to the next slide. So on my side, I'll be handling the sales strategy and the marketing strategy. And as Felix mentioned, sales is a revenue generating department, whereas marketing is encountered with expenses. And if you do not create a balance between how you're spending and track on ROI, then you might end up operating at a loss. Let me begin with a sales strategy. And the first thing that we're going to look at is where do we expect these sales to come from? And we do have direct sales in other market segmentations known as a transient market. We also have website and walk-ins. This is the time for hotels to optimize on direct sales because the cost of guest conversion with direct sales is very minimal compared to other channels. This is because when a guest books directly with you, you will not end up spending on commission or any other expenses attached to converting the guest. And that is the reason why this is a time for hotels to push for direct traffic. It is not dismissing the fact that other channels are important, but these should be carried as a priority for a hotel, because in the process of converting the client, you also want to minimize on how much you're spending to drive the conversion. The second point I have is on online distribution, which Martin will talk about extensively. On online distribution, we have the channels that we work with, OTAs, amongst other forms of conversion, such as travel agents and so forth. These are also very critical in driving conversion. And the most important thing, or the biggest challenge that hotels have been facing, is maintaining parity. Because when you don't have parity on all these channels, then you will find that other channels are performing better than others. So the most critical thing in this case is just ensuring that parity is maintained on all the channels. Then the other thing that you need to look at as a hotelier is, are your sales guys making sales calls? And how often are they doing the sales calls? Right now, the local market is the priority, and it is the mandate of every single hotel to put a push to the sales team on seeing which companies will continue booking, which companies still have money to spend. Because at this point, the companies that personally I have been talking to, most of them don't have any money, because it's like we've been in a recession, and during a recession, companies lose a lot of money. They're not making money. So it's up to the sales team to conduct all these. So if there's something I can re-emphasize and emphasize, is hotels need to take care of the sales team, because the sales teams are the engines of the hotel. Then the other thing you need to look at as a hotelier is, not all business is worth it, and that is where we look at ROI. Once we bounce back, I'm pretty sure most hotels will have a tactic of, let's say, trying to dilute the prices. Why would you do that? And a client has not told you he or she is capable of spending. This is the point whereby when you send your sales team out, they should be well versed with a value proposition instead of being quick to renegotiate on the prices. What are you offering extra that your competitor is not offering, that makes you stand out, or that makes somebody see it worth to spend $200, $100, and so forth? So at the end of the day, revenue, skills, and sales are aligned, because what you're selling, you have to check what inventory you have before you sell what you're selling. And also you have to check what do you have as a property that other properties don't have. Then we do have GDS, which I will not dwell on that much, because as we all know, the global distribution system, the famous ones, Amadeus, Sabre, Travelport, and so forth, rely on international travel. And as at the moment, no one is traveling, and it might take a long time to pick up. So for GDSs, if you would ask me if there's anything special running, then I would put a pause on it, because the people who you are targeting, the demand is not there. So this is the time, let's say if you have a media campaign going on, you can put a pause on it. And even TravelClick reach out to you sometimes, and they will tell you, this one for sure for this period, you can put a pause on it. Then once things resume, you can reactivate it. Then we can go back now to another form of boosting on sales, which is reducing the response time for emails and calls. One thing that most salespeople need to know, the faster you respond to a client, the higher the chances of making it or turning it into revenue. Value proposition, I discussed about it. Then we come to dynamic pricing. This is a debate that has been there year in, year out, and it's a culture we are deviating from, because pricing should be based on the demand. We should deviate from this is high season, I have high season rates, or I have resident rates and non-resident rates. People are challenging that nowadays, because if I'm a single booker and I'm a local, and you have a foreigner who's also a single booker, does it mean that they will use more amenities in the room than the local one? No, the answer is no. So it is high time that people look into dynamic pricing, so that they are able to optimize on all the channels that bring revenue. So when you combine all these things, then you end up having a complete cycle of increasing sales and improving sales within the property. Then something that I missed is a digital and e-commerce manager. This is a role that we have seen evolve over time. Not many hotels used to have a digital and e-commerce manager, but with the growth of social media and different forms of driving conversion, it is very critical to have somebody who's always looking at what is being posted on the platforms and who is able to take charge of that. Brian, on to the next slide. So that is all. That is a wrap up on the sales strategy. Coming to the marketing strategy, the first thing we look at is the marketing calendar. Right now, we would say, just as Musa said, we are starting on a zero slate, is the same thing. Whatever plans you had on your marketing calendar need to change, and it's all aligned with what has happened because of COVID. Now you need to come up with a new strategy of setting up a marketing calendar. How do you want to push it? And as I've mentioned on previously, is a digital manager who's in charge of pushing any digital content that you have is the key to ensuring that this is done. What are the ways that you can be able to enhance marketing for your property? We do have bulk mails, which is not an expensive thing to do because we have companies like MailChimp who will help you do that. All you need is a database of all your clients, and whatever message you want to push, we are running this local promo. That is what you use. Then we also have paid Google ads, pay-per-click, and also media banner ads through Google. And these are some of the marketing strategies where hotels are able to track return on investment. Then we do have radio ads. Many radio companies are able to offer barter trade, where if you're running a promo, then you're able to advertise it on their platform. And for them, if they need, let's say, accommodation for somebody they are hosting, then you can collaborate and work together. It's up to now the different stakeholders to have a sitting, discuss on what works for each of them to be able to know whether it is worth it. It has not been very popular, but it will have to come back as people will have to apply different marketing strategies to be able to win the market. On the digital part, this is attached to the digital manager who's in charge of handling anything that is happening on any social media platforms. Then we do have hotel branding. How is your website? How are you doing search engine marketing, search engine optimization? Do you have a professional who's able to track the statistics of who is visiting your website, and is the person visiting your website driving conversion? So all these are questions that you should ask when you're talking about hotel branding. Then this is also the time to utilize our frenemies, that is the OTAs. As much as we will pay commissions to them and sometimes not feel like we're not getting value from whatever we are getting, it is a high time we make them our friends, because at the end of the day, you want to increase your visibility. You want to be visible to any potential client who is looking to book your property. There's a lot marketing, but this is what I found relevant and critical at during this time. And that being said, my presentation comes to an end. If we do have any questions, then they can easily be posted on the chat.
Thank you, James. That was very informative. The next person in line is our next panelist, who is Martin Muredi. He's also well versed in the industry, where we have seen him working in the hotel, as well as going to an online distribution strategy company. He'll tell us more about it. So once he gets on board, Martin, please go ahead.
Good evening, guys. My name is Martin Muredi. I am the Chief Commercial Officer at Hotel Online. It's a privilege to be here talking about online distribution strategies, which is the topic that I'll be sharing in as we go. So, Brian, you can take us to the next slide. So basically, I'll talk slightly about Hotel Online as a company that I represent and work for. Hotel Online is a leading e-commerce and a digital marketing enabler for hotels in the emerging market. We are founded in 2014, and Hotel Online has since today helped over 3,500 hotels across 18 markets in Africa, Middle East, and yeah, I'm pleased to announce also that we also have Asian markets right now. Hotel Online, we have also recently during this pandemic managed to acquire African books. I know some of you guys in hotels have had a few bookings from African Booking or probably heard of African Booking. So we'll be managing it directly now in our Westlands office. And we've also partnered with Bhutan Airlines currently that will be doing their accommodation bookings. So that's slightly more about what Hotel Online does. We more of a distribution company. We today help you increase your online bookings and monetize completely for you. Then if you take us to the next page. Well, online distribution strategies, we are all aware the COVID-19 effect that is here with us. The most hard hit is actually our travel and tourism industry, which is completely on a standstill. The hardest of it is the unknown duration of the pandemic, travel restriction, and impending global recession further compounds the challenge. As a country, we can only hope that the president opens up, and we can now adjust into living with a new normal, because this is the new normal that we already have. And I'm going to address on how OTA will come handy in actually more of what my colleague James Masharia indicated on his slide. Brian, if you take us to the next page. What we need to look at is during this pandemic period, we're going to look at basically the guest behavior post COVID-19. You know, once the restriction is lifted tomorrow in Kenya, the travel process is expected to be slow, and the audience catered will be very specific on the changes. The first person whom we're going to see travel the most, of course, is going to be our domestic market, and is going to attract the business travelers. Our business travelers will possibly be the first travelers. Their needs may be more urgent because of business. Small SMEs, which were halted because of the post-COVID-19, guys who are locked down in the Nairobi metropolitan or in the country because they could not be able to fly outside due to the restriction of our airspace being shut. So that is going to be our first client that we're going to look into. If you are very familiar with OTA, you know that the biggest conversion of our OTA in the recent times, it has always been attracting a lot in terms of business travelers who less the people who actually do give you the more of no-shows and even cancellation. Business travelers is actually one of the best clientele you can actually deal with. They spend more and they will always check in on the booking. The next person that you're going to have is the single travelers. These single travelers are the people who are open to the risk, and they're open to the risk, likely to follow. They will be likely to be followed with the couples in tow. These are now more like to be our domestic travelers, our single guys who just probably want to go to Mombasa, someone wants to go to Naivasha, someone wants to come dine in Nairobi. This is the segment that we are looking at in the terms of the single travel. So this is just behaviors that we're expecting to look into post-COVID-19. Our last segment, out of the house most likely will be the family, who have plenty of consideration and require greater reassurance concerning health, safety, before they take the plunge. These are the people right now that any hotel right now should be targeting in terms of their social media, in terms of their website. This is where you need to showcase the things that you've actually put in place that are going to be protecting these clients from actually being infected by the coronavirus that we are actually facing right now. This we can go to the next slide, Brian. On this paper, we'll look into the opportunities that we as a hoteliers actually going to bank on domestic tourism. We need to regear communication to target locals, focus on existing customer base, but cater to a more diverse audience. Our domestic tourism will be what will take us to at least 30-40% in occupancy currently right now. Before we expect Europe to open up, many are saying that the vaccine will be the solution to the opening up of the entire world, but we will need to bank more on our domestic tourism. How we need to bank more on our domestic tourism, I'll touch based on what Mashare said. Dynamic pricing or open pricing will be key to winning these people. Domestic tourism, remember right now, left, right, and center, there is hotels opening up. Besides those hotels, there's also Airbnb and furnished apartments. These furnished apartments, what they have done right now, they have introduced short stays. And these short stays, you can imagine, this is an all-en-suite hotel. They will be playing around with the same rate that you're more likely giving, or the same rate that many hotels have customarily been using since 2010. So domestic, on our dynamic pricing or open pricing, will be key to how you jungle around this market to make a booking. Last minute bookings are basically done through, basically won through the dynamic pricing. So as we look into this domestic tourism, we need to pay key attention into the domestic, the dynamic pricing or the open pricing. This is going to be an area that hotels need to be very lenient on. Next one we'll be talking about is audit your website and content. Keep it updated and relevant. List all open and restricted services. Make it easy to find accommodation and book now. You see, the book now easy needs to be very visible. It needs to be slightly on almost all pages in your website, so such that a guest can just make a booking easily on the go. Then audit your website with the proper content. This is the time that you need to work around your website and make sure that it is actually on par to what you want it representing. We will talk about aligning marketing and revenue management strategy. Ensure rate strategy parity, which Mashari also indicated on his slide. The rate parity across all channels, direct bookings, offers, packages, and flexible cancellation policy. I want to look at the flexible cancellation policy. Right now, due to the COVID-19 and also because of unforeseen restrictions that might be coming up on our way as we progress forward, we need to be very open in flexible cancellation policy. This is going to be another determinant of a client who is sitting wherever he's sitting, trying to make a booking directly to your property. Cancellation will be a determinant on that one. Then you also need to ensure that you don't have parity across all your channels. because rate parity can, have you always seen the booking.com has a way of actually making sure that the rate parity, they're also winning on that. Ensure that you don't have the rate parity so that you win in all clients, and also it's going to give you best rankings and good visibility as well. Yeah. Now let's talk about improve your online review strategy. This is the time, because we are all at home. The lucky ones who are at work, this is actually the time that you need to make sure that you are responding to all your reviews accordingly. If you're not able to do it, you need to actually get someone who can do it. The e-commerce manager comes handy on this one. Or if you completely halted on that, you can task the hotel online. We are able to give you a dedicated account manager who's going to give you all revenue solutions and actually handle all communication for your guests. Yeah. This is pretty much what I had for today in regards to the online distribution. Brian, we can take probably questions.
All right, thank you, Martin. So we've come to the session where we will take on the reviews, final reviews from our panelists. I'll start with James. James, final review, please.
Brian, can maybe we do questions and answers before we do any reviews?
Okay. All right, go ahead. Anyone with a question, burning question? Let's go ahead and answer the questions. Address them to the panelists and make sure your questions are brief and concise. Anyone with a question?
I think if you can unmute first, or one can unmute when he wants to ask a question.
Yes, they can unmute themselves. Any other question? Addressed to the panelists?
Okay, maybe they are good.
Let me assume we'll have questions later as we take on the final reviews from our panelists. Go ahead, please. James, your final review?
Oh, sorry, you said like a conclusion or?
Yes, please, go ahead with your conclusion.
Okay, good. No, my thing is it's time to revolutionize the hotel industry. For the longest time, we had a gap, which was in revenue management. Right now, we have very many people who have the skills and the know-how to be able to provide these solutions. So as a hotelier, any opportunity you get to be able to maximize and optimize, then it's high time we take it. Then I'm seeing a question from Felix Washira. I think it's addressed to me. Digital managers will be key to recovery. How different are they from e-commerce managers? From my viewpoint, digital and e-commerce managers, no, they're not. There's no difference. It's the same thing. The person who handles digital and e-commerce is the same, and they work hand in hand with either the revenue manager or the sales and marketing. Just for your information, my role, what I'm doing, I'm handling revenue as well as sales and marketing, because we felt that, or the hotel felt that these are roles that should be aligned. Because for you to be able to guide the sales department, we should not go below this rate, or we should go towards this direction. They need to know the reason as to why we are not selling, let's say, below $80 and so forth. So all these is inclined to work together as an engine. So the digital e-commerce, sales department, and revenue should work hand in hand. So the direct and most precise answer, the digital and e-commerce is the same thing. I hope I have answered your question, Felix. But my parting shot is we have what it takes to have world-class hoteliers, and we just need to collaborate and learn from each other and don't be shy to share information. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Felix, go ahead.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you, James. Doreen has a question. What can hotels do so as marketing department becomes a key department, just as sales? I think I'll just wait for James to answer
that. One thing the hotel needs to do is, first of all, give it a try. And giving it a try is as simple as going onto Instagram or Facebook and trying out the paid ads and looking at what traction you will get out of what you have paid for. And trust you me, I've tried it for small businesses and it has worked wonders. So it's just having somebody who is knowledgeable on how marketing should be conducted. And once you have somebody that is a professional in this specific field, then they'll be able to emphasize the significance of marketing within the hotel setting. Thank you.
I think Doreen missed the question because the answer, because she had left and she has just joined. Probably you can take it back for Doreen.
Okay. Yeah, Doreen, I see you had left, but you're back now. So what I just said is, it is the mandate of the hotel, first of all, to do trials. You can try with something as simple as doing a Google ad, Facebook ad, or Instagram ad. Let's say you've done something special on your restaurant and you need to increase the viewers and the likes and the bookers. All you need to do is just pay. It ranges between as little as from $5 to as much as $20. So once you give something a try, and then you can show the results to the management, then they can see the significance. Then secondly, have somebody who is good in marketing to be able to show the relevance of pushing in marketing within the hospitality or the hotel setting. And then you'll be able now to get results out of that. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I think now we can get the final review from Felix.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Doreen, just maybe to add on James, if you notice, and James handles all the 3 departments, but if you go under him, he has a specific people who are tackling each segment. So there's one for sales, there's one for marketing, and there's one for revenue, and they all come into that funnel to his role. But again, for marketing to be independent, to be as important as sales, the owner or the hotel has to understand the value of marketing. The challenge you've had in the industry, us who have done hospitality management in school, is most of the things we learned on the job, which is crazy, yeah? So we never knew what to go to school and learn. So you'll find that hotel marketers in the industry are very few. So what people are doing is they're hiring from the media. So you take a media personnel, or mostly media personnel, and you bring him into the hotel to learn to do marketing for you. So remember, that person has to learn first of all the industry before they can actually go out there and start implementing very key strategies for the hotel. So I feel even our schools need to improve this section, where students coming in, we have all these educational points, like courses that can guide us towards the right thing. On my final remarks, and I will reiterate what James said, the pricing is key. I'm sure if tomorrow it's announced the opening, I'll start seeing $20, $30. We will be in a serious price war. And James asked this question: has the client actually come back and told you I can't afford $100? Or is it your assumption? Or is it because you feel cheap is what will sell? Sometimes cheap doesn't sell. So we really have to price according to what we are offering. And post-COVID, our costs will increase. So we have to also be very careful. So your $20 might not be enough to get you that cleaning detergent that you need. And you will find, as a hotel, you're always frustrated because you don't know, you never prepared well. So this is why zero-based is key. We need to understand why, what we need to survive, and then we need to come back and say, how are we going to strategize moving forward? So let us all, when we're sitting with in our departmental strategy meetings, meeting our bosses, tell them we do not need to undersell, but we need to price correctly. Those are two different things. Underselling and pricing. Underselling is just flooding the market with cheap rates. But pricing correctly is you have done your maths and you have decided this is the best price to move me forward. And that is the only way we can push forward. So budgeting is key post-COVID. Please, guys, go back and redo a clean budget based on a clean slate, because we are entering into a field, or we're entering into a new season that we are not sure how it will behave. Those are my parting shots. Thanks.
Okay. My remarks as we close this. My remarks as we close this is that just want to remind you that just a few months ago, we were talking about 2020 being a challenging year for profitability, given the flattening occupancy levels and lack of hotelier pricing power. Henceforth, we shall be talking about survival towards the new normal. What I can actually say is implement the above opportunities we shared with you. Pride your property and yourself with the strength your property has. It's possible to achieve 60% occupancy in before September, guys. If we open tomorrow, it's very possible to achieve 60% occupancy. We as Hotel Online are going to be here to help you monetize. You can drop any question you have, and we are going to assist you. OTA today should be 40% around occupancy. Remember, dynamic pricing and direct booking strategy should be category number 1 moving forward. Thank you, guys.
Brian? I think Brian, you need to give us direction.
Sorry, thank you, Martin. With all that has been said from our panelists, we can see clearly that we are in a position where we have now to rethink our strategies, and we have to do what we have never done before. This is a time where we need to now go back to the drawing board, start afresh. It is time to start afresh. On zero-based budgeting, us as RevSol, we have an article that we have done. It's on our website. Just if you want to know more about zero-based budgeting, kindly visit our website. You will see an article on it. We'll have more and more articles to post about our Kenyan hospitality industry on the website. And we'll also post it on LinkedIn. So for you to get that link as fast as possible, you can also follow us on LinkedIn. All the details are there. If you need the slides for today's presentation, please let us know. We'll send it to you. Give us you can write your emails on the chats on the side. You can write your emails. In case you do not have that, you can also send us your message on our LinkedIn page. You can also go to our website. Our contact details are there. Let us know what you will need. Thank you all for attending. I'm sure if there is no more questions, is there any more questions so that I don't lock anyone out? Any question? You can just unmute yourself if you have a question. Unmute yourself. I'll give you like five seconds. Just unmute yourself and start talking. We'll see you. All right. Since there are no more questions, I thank you all for attending the meeting. Leviathan is trying to unmute. Let me try to unmute Levi Otieno.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, I have two things. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Very clear.
All right. One, on the rate parity aspect, mostly we use OTAs so that we can get people out there who might not be able to book direct at the hotels. But then you find that most of the time the rate, the direct booking rate is lower than what is online for the people who will use OTAs. Yeah, that is mostly people who are outside the international guests and people like that. But then when they book online, they find that the rate is low as compared to direct booking. And maybe at times you'd find someone calling directly to book, and then he'll tell you, maybe, why is it that the rate that I found online is cheaper than yours? So let me just go ahead and book online. But you see that again now impacts on what the revenues that the hotel will get, because when you book online using the OTA, then definitely you have to share maybe the revenues that are generated. So how best can maybe hoteliers utilize that aspect in the fact that maybe we promote more direct bookings as opposed to OTAs, but at the same time maintaining maybe the revenues that we intend to generate when we use OTAs? Because many people just run when they hear the rates that are advertised directly as compared to what they get online. That's number one. Number two, in terms of I think someone asked the difference between e-commerce manager and digital manager, and I had the answer that was provided. But then I think just to add on that, the digital manager is someone who should be all-rounded in terms of being aware of how to promote the hotel on the online platforms as opposed to an e-commerce manager who might maybe his role would just be more towards generation of income online. That is selling the hotel online and looking for revenues. But the digital manager is someone whose main role actually is to promote the hotel online, not for sales as such, but in terms of awareness. Those are the things that I have to say.
All right, Levi. We've had your questions. I think the first question will be addressed by Felix Musa, and question number 2 will be addressed by James on the rate parity and the difference between e-commerce manager and digital manager. So, Felix, can you go ahead with the first one?
Okay. Thanks, Levi. I think maybe because the question encompassed even online, I think also Martin might have something to say. But the best way, Levi, is to have a strategy for your direct business and for your online business. These are two different sources of business, so you need to identify them. And then online, also remember, under onlineyourbrand.com, which is your own hotel website, is part of the OTA world. It's still, when we talk of online, we also talk of your website. So with what James had said earlier about dynamic and open pricing, we say anyone who walks into your hotel, actually, let me just recorrect this. How have you online is an extension of my front desk. It's just that I've taken my front desk and I've put it to the world. So if you call me or if you walk into my hotel, I should be in a position to sell you the best price as per that time, So some of them call it the best available rate, but the best price as per that time. And this price from walking to online should not have any difference. And that kills the parity. When you do this, you'll find most guests actually call first direct before they go to OTAs. If a client, or no, it's actually the vice versa, they check you on an OTA and then they call direct to say what you'll offer. The mistake that has been happening here is when they call you, your rate is 20% higher than what they see on the OTA. Why? It's because these strategies are not synced. So once you sync this, and once you start seeing the online platform as just an extension of your front desk or your reservation desk, you will be able to control these parity issues. So you must have one strategy. And remember, okay, direct source is the best because there are less commissions available. But as a hotel, again, you can never outmarket an OTA. The amount of budgets they have are crazy. And they're reaching areas that you will spend the millions to reach. You know, they're getting new traffic from areas that you will spend millions to reach. And as an individual, you can never do that. So you need to work with them. And James called them frenemies. So we need to treat them as frenemies. But have it's called the non-contracted rate strategy. And then you can have your other strategies now for your direct, for your corporates and for your leisure travel agents, and all the way to all the segmentations you have in your sales team. So that is how you will be in a position, you know, to move forward. Because right now, most people prefer to do things for themselves, and it's easier for them to do it without really having a middleman. And the middleman here is either calling, and right now most reservation offices are closed, or calling a front desk, and maybe that front desk during that period all the phones are engaged. You know, it will bring you're delaying the response time. So that would be my response. Maybe Martin can add on top.
Basically, what I will actually say about the rate parity in regards to what the front office will give a client vis-a-vis what is portrayed on your OTA. We just need to be very smart in how we're going to handle that. And this is where you need to, your bosses really need to have the insight of the dynamic pricing, and also insight of actually what is happening on the OTA. Some of them clearly seem not to understand the rates that we have we've displayed on the OTA, and the rack rates that probably you guys are selling. Normally the rates given to the OTA are slightly discounted. And if a client calls the front office and still gets the rack rate, which is a bit higher, which slightly was pegged on the a year ago and is still there, then you stand to lose your client. How you need to practice this is that you need to have the allowance of even selling what is actually on the OTA directly to you. That is the only way you're going to omit this commission. Remember, the lowest commission, the least commission you actually have on the OTA is about 15%. That's if there's no preferred program or anything. So if your property, your OTA is selling at $80, and the client goes and books through the OTA at $80, 15% will be taken off there. But if you're able to sell that $80 directly with the front office directly there, then you're actually saving that 15%. This is something you need to look. But in the recent days, we've actually been seeing hotels playing smart, whereby you put the same rate on OTA to your website, but you still put a hidden discount promo code that you actually give clients to book directly through your website. That is a very smart way, and I haven't seen it really attract the rate parity. It's actually been working very well, and it's something that hotels can also look into. That's it for me.
All right.
Yeah,
I think the other question was on my side on digital and e-commerce.
I'm about to call you up.
Yeah, so yes, Levi, I do agree. The digital and e-commerce are completely different, two different things. But as you can see, the hospitality industry currently, it's changing. And I'll give you a practical case scenario. My digital manager is also good at e-commerce. I'm also good at e-commerce. Yes, the digital manager is in charge of pushing any digital marketing content out there, like the website, the OTAs, the photos within the required pixelations. Is the website well optimized, and so forth. The e-commerce manager is more of bringing revenue. What e-commerce platforms are bringing revenue to the hotel? So just from the sales and marketing name itself, the digital part is more of marketing. The e-commerce part is more of sales, because it involves what is bringing revenue to the hotel. So if you're lucky to get somebody who is all-rounded in digital and e-commerce, well and good. If not, then you'll have to incur double costs in having somebody who is good at digital and another one who's good at e-commerce, which at the end of the day, And at these times when hotels want to minimize on costs, it is important if you personally started learning how to handle both, understanding both the digital part and also the e-commerce part. But your point is very valid. Thank you.
Thank you, James, for that. I think any other person who wants to ask a question? With that, I would like to thank you everyone for attending this meeting. It was quite interesting to engage some very knowledgeable heads in the industry who have been in the industry for a while. This recording, this particular webinar will be on our YouTube page. That is RevSol EA. Just check it out on YouTube. You'll find this webinar. We'll also post a few of the links of the highlights, the highlighted points on our LinkedIn page. Check out our LinkedIn page. Also, new articles coming up on our website next week, where we'll discuss more of other issues pertaining to the hospitality industry. As it is now, I would like to also request you, in case you may want to have this presentation in particular, just leave us with your email on the chat, or you can write to us on connect@revenuesolutionsea.com. Let us know what you may need. And if you also own a hotel, or if you're part of the team that is a decision maker in a hotel, reach us out on RevSol, and we'll be happy to help you and let you know what our services are. For now, thank you very much, everyone. It was a pleasure meeting you.